The Bravemaker Show is hosted by Tony Gaffestone and Christina Jackson. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Hey, what's up, party people? Tony Gaffestone here with you. I am a filmmaker and I am headquartered in Redwood City, California. And I'm always with my co-collaborator, Christina Jackson.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm in Dublin, California, coming to you from the East Bay. And Tony, this is so exciting today.
We got some good stuff today. We always start, though, before we bring in our special guest, we always start this show with this one question. How have you braved your way today toward your creative goals? Why do we ask this question? Because it takes one step at a time, right? Whether you're making a film, whether you're writing a comic book like my co-host Christina, or you're making music, whatever it is that you are writing, it's just one thing at a time. It doesn't happen overnight. So how have you braved your way toward your goals this week, Christina Jackson?
I am braving my way with Osuko Jackson. How about that? She is a Black anime character, and I am in the process of rewriting and writing my first comic book. You know, it's a lot of draft after draft, Tony. And I decided to delve out of like the comic book space and get into anime. I feel like they go well together. There she is. That's Osuko. Today I'm rocking a Osuko meets Spider-Man look. So, and I love it. It's a fresh look at character development. And she's bad. Like, what can I say? She's a badass. So that's why I play with Black anime.
So I love that. So you're really good at this, Christina. You're good at so many things. You have such a great outlook on life all the time. I always appreciate the joy that you bring to the world and to my life. And then every time I ask this question, it's always different than what I expect. Like I'm always like kind of tangible, trying to like knock out a checklist and make stuff. And you're like so philosophizing and thinking, and you're really open to all these different avenues to get your projects done. Like the idea of research is a big part of how we get our stuff done. So I love that you're finding your influences, and then you are just nonstop with the creativity and the way that you mash up your cosplay. So you always get 5 stars in my book for that. So kudos.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, so I'm gonna put that link in the show notes if people want to check out this cool Michoko anime here. And for me, I am determined to make this feature film in June of 2021. So this week I talked with my assistant director. So shout out to Hope Garza and the lead actress of this film, Last Chance Charlene, to figure out our locations. We're trying to have limited locations so we can make this feature film on a micro budget. And sometimes like it really comes down to just putting something in your schedule. So if you want to make a film, put it in your schedule, and that due date looms over you, and you will do whatever you have to do to make it happen. So that's where I am braving my way in the industry this week. If you're watching live or on the replay, we encourage you to tell us how you're doing it too. We'd love to hear from you. What is it that you're going after? What goals do you have? We'd love to help you in any way we can and encourage you. So today, we hope this conversation really encourages you to go after your filmmaking goals, because we have a filmmaker, a podcaster, and a professor of film. My friend who I met in New York City at the Urban World Film Festival. Welcome, everybody. Marquette Jones to the show.
Welcome, Marquette Jones.
Hi. So happy to be here. You got the thing I love about Tony, before you even introduce me and I say hi to the world, I just want to say that like since the moment I met you, this energy that you have just uplifts me like every single time we come in contact with each other. Like, it is an amazing thing. And then like I meet Christina and I'm like, whoa, like you're really coming through with all the good juju. Like, yes. Bravo. Like I was like it's been like a long week, and as soon as I saw your faces, I was like, oh, hi, let's go. So I'm really happy to be here.
That makes me so happy.
Go back.
Awesome.
Tell us how you met. Tell us about New York.
Well, Tony and I were both filmmakers in the Urban World Film Festival that year, and they had a director's lunch or something like that, and we sat next to each other or near each other, and it was just like, like synergy. Like it was really, we started talking and didn't stop until like the whole thing was over, and they were like, "Can you go on to the next event, please?" And so then ever since then, whenever there was a film festival that we both were attending, like we met up at Sundance a couple of times, I think, at least once, and tried to do it another time. But we definitely chat every time there was a film festival that we're both at. So that's how we've stayed in contact over the years.
It's truly special the way that in this industry relationships can forge, and to root one another on. That was my very first film festival, Marquette, that I was in as a filmmaker.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and to be in New York, I was super nervous. I had never even been to New York before, and so that director's lunch. You're going in there, you feel like the new kid at school, in high school, with your tray, and to sit down with people who are warm and friendly and then find synergy. Yeah, it's been something special, and to watch your career. And now you're in the Bay Area, where the Bay Area has Marquette, which we're so excited about. Or Marquette has the Bay Area, I don't know. So
we have each other. And I'm happy to be back in the Bay, to be honest. Yeah.
Right on. Well, okay, so let's dive in. Christina just watched Forgiving Chris Brown last night, which was the film in question that got you to Urban World Film Festival in New York. But back us up a little bit before Forgiving Chris Brown, because I want to get into that and just talk about your road to becoming a filmmaker. Did you always think you were going to be a filmmaker? How did it start for you?
Oh, well, no. I have a law degree. I really thought I was going to become Princess Lawyer. That was like my childhood dream that I really pursued. So I went to law school, practiced law for a few years, and just was really much more interested in the lives of my clients as people, as human beings, than filling out the paperwork and filing briefs and stuff like that on their behalf. So as just a mental health or self-help, I don't know, but I took a screenwriting class just to do something different, and loved it, and then decided that I wanted to try my hand at it. And then in the process of thinking, I'm going to try my hand at this. Well, who are my influences? Blah, blah, blah. And of course, every Black person of a certain age, like Spike Lee was our major influence. And so I applied to NYU kind of on a fluke, because that's the only school that I applied to. And I was like, well, if I can work with him, then I'll be good to go. And otherwise I'll just make films, which I think is a totally, awesome way to do things as well. I was like, either I'm going to work with Spike, or I'm going to spend this money on making films and teaching myself filmmaking along the way. And so fortunately, I was able to get into the program, and that's pretty much how all that started. Just following my little spark of a dream. I didn't necessarily think that it was all going to work out the way that it has, because I come from a very sturdy family. I am so sorry. That is my dog. Hey. Cut that out. Sorry. Oh my gosh. So I lost my total train of thought. What was I saying?
You were saying you didn't think it was going to turn out this way, but it has.
No. But I was just let me just see. I didn't tell anyone that I was applying. The only people who knew that I was going to apply to film school were the people who had to write my recommendation letters. That was it. Everyone else was oh, she's doing great. She's practicing law. She's on her conveyor belt path, and I just jumped off of that thing. It's let me see what else is out there.
That is so amazing. I actually want to go back further than that. I'm so curious about people's origin stories. So if you could tell us, where were you born and raised, and how did your journey uniquely prepare you for the work that you're doing now?
Oh, Yeah. So you really want the origin story.
Mhm.
My love for storytelling really, I come from a very funny family. Um,
Oh,
like I'm the quiet one in my family, as they will tell you. Like, and they are like these huge storytellers. And like, so every time that we get together, like it is like storytelling time, like remembering when somebody did blah, 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 and how the whole block got together and beat up somebody because they messed with a cousin. Like, it was, so I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. And I had come from a really big family there, clink scales. And like, and my family is very much like, if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And so we all come together, not just to fight, but we all come together. And so kind of like being raised by a bunch of storytellers really made me love and appreciate telling stories of Black people, period. And also working class Black people. So like not necessarily, so the stories that I write really are kind of the emotional journeys of the characters that I am intrigued by in a particular story. So that's kind of like how it all got started. My love for comedy again comes from just being raised by a bunch of very, very funny people. And my grandmother in particular, she used to send me to the library for her, like every week. Go pick up my books. And then of course, like you can get whatever you want to. So I was getting the grown people books at like, like 9 years old and like bringing those home and kind of reading like The Color Purple, totally inappropriate for my age bracket. But that was kind of like what started it for me, just watching tons of Cinemax. I think that's what it was called back in the day.
Yeah, like Skinemax.
Yes.
Like nobody comes in.
Exactly. That part. Yes. Oh yeah. So thankfully we had cable and I had my library books. Like between those two things, like I think it was kind of destined that I was gonna become some sort of maker.
I love it. That's a great origin story. Christina always asks that question, and I love it. So let's talk about that Cinemax influence, because I see in your film, but I see some skin in Forgiving Chris Brown.
a lot of.
But I flipped it though for us.
Let's talk about that. So this film is on Amazon Prime right now, so everybody can go check it out and support an independent filmmaker. But talk to us about Forgiving Chris Brown, because there's a lot of stuff on the lay. I watched it again last night too. I saw it on a big screen, which was fun, but I watched it again last night and I thought, oh, there's some really important things that you're talking about here. So where did Forgiving Chris Brown come from for you?
I pulled together a few different elements. So one, the title came first, and this was like way back when like all the stuff with Rihanna and Chris Brown was happening, and I just was on Twitter a lot at that time, and I really was like, yo, like number one, Forgiving Chris Brown would be a great film title, and then a few people were like, yeah, it would, but F that dude, you know what I mean? Like, so I was like, okay, so if I'm gonna do this story, like and keep this title, I'm gonna have to like turn it on its head. Like, what would that actually look like? From just a observer's point of view, I thought it was really fascinating to me that, you know, certain celebrities just do not catch a break, period. Like there is no second chance. There's no comeback story. There's no grace being offered them. And he's one of those people for the most part. And so I really wanted to find a way to talk about that, but still keep people entertained. For myself as a creator, I knew that I had I knew I had some interest in comedy, but I had never written a comedy myself before. And so I put all of that together and kind of like came up with this idea. So yeah. What was the thing you noticed when you watched it again, Tony?
The very last thing one of the girls says about that they have another, and I'm kind of remember the name of who was the name of the celebrity?
Robin Thicke.
Robin Thicke. It just got me thinking like, oh my gosh, I need to do some deep diving into some of the other layers here, and how much all the flashbacks were really positive. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much going on with these women, and then and then also recognizing like the Me Too. This is before Me Too was a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was.
So the fact, right? Exactly. So I thought, wow, you were putting your finger on the pulse of stuff that obviously you as a woman and obviously you as a Black woman were very aware of. And this was 2015, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So
it was before like a lot of this stuff has really come out. Yeah. And we'll get to directing magic too, but the thing about it is I really wanted to explore the process of forgiving and how messy that can be. Like everyone says, like, you know, forgive and forget, or you should move on or whatever. And I just really thought it's not that simple. And so with her, like, she has the choice. The film is about this woman's choice of forgiving or not, right? And clearly her friends are like, nah, we're not forgiving nothing, but it's not that simple for the person that's in the middle of it and remembering all of the good times and remembering what this person meant to you. I really thought it was important to kind of like not give an answer about that, but just ask the question about what does that really feel like to forgive somebody who has hurt you? So, yeah. And all that in a comedy package.
Yeah, I love that you showed the complex emotions of that experience. And you put your finger on something else in this back in 2015, cancel culture. Can you speak to that a little bit about our lack of forgiveness and our ability to jump so quickly and cancel people?
Ooh, I don't talk about that publicly that much because I think I might be a lot more moderate than our culture allows right now. But I do think that people are quick to throw the whole thing away, throw the whole person away because of a mistake that they've made. And, you know, some people have like made enough mistakes where we're like, man, like that's just too many people and too many times and too many lives that you've hurt. Woody Allen. But I also think that when you think about someone who was, you know, young, just using Chris Brown as the example, was young and clearly still processing his own trauma as a child and growing up. And I don't even know if he would admit that himself, but as I was researching it all, like there's some stuff in his background that really suggests that he was coming from a hurt place. That doesn't excuse what happened or what he did or anything like that. But I think it's important for people to try to get the whole picture of the person before deciding whether or not that person needs to like not have a career, not have a voice, not have a life anymore. I think that's for me, like, and it might actually be partially from my legal background. Like I just know that there's just so many pieces of a story, and most things are not black and white. And I really try to keep that in mind when we hear these different celebrity stories in particular. Like we hold them to an account that most of us could not live up to. Most of us couldn't live up to because like we're human and we make mistakes. And I'm just like seeing my face just melting.
Do we need to powder our nose?
I mean, yes.
Marquette, while you tend to that, I think that is so deep. And this is something that has inspired me so much to want to be a filmmaker, which, 25 years ago when I felt like people discouraged the Hollywood trajectory in my life for fear of becoming narcissistic, and everybody in Hollywood only wants, to get rich and be famous. And I say, oh my gosh, no, there are so many movers and shakers, people who care about justice, who care about the human condition, who care about the complexity of compassion. Like that is really like super profound. And the fact that these types of conversations can be incited in the weirdest and funniest and coolest and different packages in a film that's about these three women confronting an ex-boyfriend. It's just cool. I love that you think in this way. I feel like this is probably why you're now teaching in the way that you do, because you think so deeply about film. Like, you make film, you love film, and you also have a huge heart for the passing on of the craft to other people. I think that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christina,
now I will say this, and I shouldn't end on that, because you just made me sound so lovely. But I also was like going through a breakup at the time, and I was big mad.
Okay.
I want to know where it come from. Where did it come from? Because it was very close. Yes.
Ah, man. Listen, our imagination can save us from like cases.
Uh-huh.
I'm really curious if you could speak to the public consumption of the personal lives of filmmakers and actors. What is your take on that?
I mean, it's an interesting thing, because I think the public, especially with all the different forms of social media we have, we feel so entitled to the private lives of the people that entertain us. Mm-hmm. I think it's a problem. I'm just really deciding, like, is it a problem or is it just a thing? I think it is a problem, because unless the person is very, very grounded, and I think a lot of them are getting there. A lot of the celebrities are getting there in terms of like making peace with themselves and letting the public think and whatever they feel. But I think that we as the public, we are looking at this folks like, well, why? Well, you're from Houston. How come you're not, opening up your mansion to all the people that don't have heat, water, da, da, da. Like, it's like a demand for so much more outside of people's chosen lane that they're in. So if I'm an entertainer, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to entertain the people of Houston and maybe, donate a little money or something. But like, why now all of a sudden are you asking me to be like the almost leader of the city because I'm an entertainer and you like what I'm like singing or rapping or whatever about. And I just think that a lot of times we as the public put demands on the people that we have idolized, which I also think is an issue and a problem. I just think that we're doing too much with that, like, as opposed to kind of empowering ourselves to take care of our communities and our families. We're looking towards these people that have a little more of a following to do it for us a lot of times. Maybe not 100%, but I think there's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a hard tension when you are in the public eye, right? There's that kind of thing where people expect so much of you. And we've heard these conversations of whether they're, athletes who are saying, I just want to play my game. I don't want to have to be a life mentor. Why are people watching my lives? But it's hard because we idolize these influencers and these public figures in ways that also probably harm them and then erode them, which causes them to harm other people. I think that's a really fascinating take about the Chris Brown story, and good on you for using your film to instill some compassion. That's really cool. I really dig that. But you give back a lot. You started directing magic. Let's talk a little bit about your podcast and this space that you've created. Talk about directing magic a little bit. Yeah.
Directing Magic is it's a podcast, but I'm starting to do some like film reviews and stuff like that, and supporting female filmmakers and also just leaders in the entertainment industry. And so I started that in 2016. And again, I think that was right when the Me Too stuff was just, or not Me Too, but like the Time's Up stuff was just getting started. And I definitely will, pat myself on the back on being kind of on the forefront of that. Because I was like, yo, there's something happening. And I can tell you exactly when I was like, there's something happening. There was an acceptance speech from Patricia Arquette. When she got on that stage and she was like, and another thing, and she like basically was saying like, we should be treating women better in the entertainment industry. And as soon as she said that, and everyone was like, she's tripping, she's crazy. But as soon as she said it, I was like, something is about to go down. Like it's about to blow up. And I just kept thinking about it and kind of started directing magic Not just because that happened. There are a few other inspiration sources, but I really, from one, that happened, but also there were a couple of talks that a few people had done about how folks are able to, how they choose the people they want to work with. And the idea is, and just to say, like, it was Ava DuVernay and Effie Brown. And they're like, well, I like to choose people that I can have dinner with, that I can talk with, that I can, you know, kind of chill with or whatever, because there's a million beautiful people in the world, you know, actors or whatever. And like, to narrow it down, I definitely want it to be someone that I feel like I can talk with outside of work. So with that, I was like, well, I mean, I'm great in a coffee, you know, to have coffee with or to have like a dinner party with. I just need to get into your living room and then we're going to become besties, right? That's kind of like tongue in cheek, but I am really good one-on-one. And so I thought that a podcast would be a great opportunity for me to kind of show the depth of my, you know, who I am as a person and as an artist, but also to give that same platform and that same opportunity for a lot of the other women that I work with and know and are friends with or whatever in this business to do the same thing. So to be able to kind of like give somebody an opportunity to just sit and listen, like, is this someone that I vibe with, you know, where there's like low stakes. It's just listening for a half an hour to a person kind of talk about what they're about. And I have had, and this makes me so happy, but I've had a few other women that I've brought on the show come back and say, oh, I got a job because someone listened to this podcast and reached out to me. And I'm just like, really? Yes, it's working. The mastermind
I love that.
situation is really working. I love it. Yeah, thank you.
Marquette, so cool. Yeah, Directing Magic. Please go check it out at Directing Magic, the website, as well as Instagram and Twitter. And, you know, it's cool when I think about your film, Forgiving Chris Brown. I wish that we could talk to all these people that were in the short, because some of them have gone into some big places.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Lodric Collins, for instance.
Isn't he doing great? Oh, look what you did. Look what you did. Hey, friend.
What's happening, ladies?
Hi.
How are you?
Good. You heard me talking all this mess, huh? Hello.
What'd you say?
I said you just heard me talking all this mess.
I heard. I didn't catch all the bad stuff you said about me, but I'll replay this stuff. You know, I'm just coming on.
That's awesome.
So
tell everyone what he's doing now, because he's just such a big guy.
So Lodric, okay, obviously we saw a lot of Lodric in Forgiving Chris Brown here. So go and check it out. You can see almost all of Lodric. But besides that, Lodric is rocking it on The Oval by Tyler Perry, the BET series, The Oval. And it's not out yet, but we know that you are in Respect. Hello. Yes. You played Smokey Robinson in Respect. So yeah, give us a little update. I know you're a busy guy. You don't have much time to chat today, but tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Season 3 right now. We're preparing for season 3 in a couple of weeks of The Oval. Season 2 literally premiered last week, and we go into production for season 3 in like less than 2 weeks. So right now, man, I'm just sitting and preparing, getting ready for that, you know? Like you said, Respect is coming out, and also preparing press-wise for the release of Respect August of this year. Yeah, so looking forward to it.
Super cool, Lodric. Yeah. Give us a little word. What was it like working with Marquette and all those ladies as they put you through hell and Forgiving Chris Brown?
You know, I always tell people, they're all people are always like, what is Forgiving Chris Brown about? I was like, it is me being drug out into the desert and getting the shit beat out of me by like 4 hot chicks, and it was probably like the best job I ever had in my life.
That is great.
They dragged me out to the desert, stripped me butt naked, and just abused me. And I liked it. I need a shirt that says that I got dragged out into the desert. What was it? Joshua Tree, beat by 4 hot chicks, and liked it. But no, it's great. You know, anytime you get a chance to work with somebody like Marquette, a director like Marquette, it's always a blessing because she's got that gift, you know. I think a lot of directors always try to say, you know, oh, I want to redirect you and I want you to do this. And sometimes, like, it doesn't always hit in. Marquette always had that gift of giving one word and people being like, oh, okay, sorry, I live downtown. So, like, any noise you hear, that's that. Yeah, Marquette always had that gift of giving you one word. I want this. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. This is what we do. You know what I mean? And at first I was like, is that just me that's catching it? But like everybody really caught it. I think she's like an active director. You know what I mean? And I always say, she don't like when I say this. If you could take Dr. Seuss, Dr. Frankenstein, and Dr. Jekyll and mix them all into one, you would get Marquette. Yeah, she's like a mad scientist. Creative, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's something I value. She's something I value. Her friendship is something I value. Her genius is something I value. So I'm glad you're giving her this platform just to showcase all the dopeness that she is,
Right on. She is the Marquette. What do you want to say about Lodric and working with him as an actor?
Yeah, I really want you to stop saying that about Dr. Jekyll, though, for real, though.
I know you do. You can always stop saying it, but until you see $20, I'm gonna keep doing it.
I'm just really, really, really excited about where your career is going. And I know we haven't seen anything yet. Like, there's so much more in store for us with your career. So I'm just happy to be on the ground floor, to be like, yep, I saw it. I saw it before all of y'all. So like, let's give us the money to make the like feature version of Forgiving Chris Brown. All of that. But yeah, man, like, I mean, you said it, like, it was a really, and again, with that synergy, because the night that we met, like, you were like, hey, what you got? And I was like, I got this thing. And like, it was that meeting at a, I forget, it may have been a BET.
They had like a screening or something at the Directors Guild on Sunset, next to the waffle, the place where they make the big old waffles at on Sunset. Yeah, I always have monarchs, landmarks in LA. Yeah.
Listen, the thing about it is that synergy, like, you were open from the beginning. You trusted me, which was really important, and you trusted that I wouldn't make fun of you or of your character or what you were trying to represent. And I think that is what made it work. So thank you always for that.
Beautiful.
I love it. I haven't seen him in like a year.
I love it.
We got this thing though where it's like we call each other. It's like, hey, you just popped in my head. How you doing? You know what I mean? She's one of the few people like I have that synergy with. When we catch up, it's like we just talked yesterday.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Lodric, for being up for. I was messaging him. I'm like, I know you're busy. He's like, I'll pop in. Yeah, sure. Let me do this.
Yeah. Hi, Christine. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to say hello.
Hi, Lodric. Yeah, I'm just up here being a fangirl, just enjoying the view and the conversation, Don't mind me.
I'm fanning on this thing. Thank you, guys. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So good. Hey, look at the camera on a 1, 2, 3. Let's take a picture together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. You're all awesome. Thank you so much. We wish you so much great in your future and your career, Lodric. Appreciate you popping in.
All the best to you guys. Now,
thanks so much. How do you get out of here? I wanted to surprise you, Marquette. I love
you got me.
Good.
That is so cool.
That's some directing magic right there. When an actor can say, this is what you brought, right? Directing is so hard. Directing magic right there. Like, you are constantly making decisions. And so I love that you are able to get, from one of your actors who had to be very vulnerable, that kind of compliment. That says a lot about you and about what you do. So everybody watching or listening, go to directingmagic.com, follow @directingmagic. What else is coming up in your life? I know you've got a short film doing the circuit. Let's talk about Ghosted.
Oh, sure. So Ghosted is a project that I started a little over a year ago. I shot something with my students at University of Alabama, Roll Tide. It's so funny for me to say that because I would never say it when I was there. Nonetheless, yes, Roll Tide. And so Ghosted was directed by me, but all the casting crew were students of Alabama. And so it was an experiment to see like what it would be like to work with students as crew members and to like collaborate. It was very collaborative, like the storyline, everything except me, like was all students. And so we did that. And now it's out on a festival circuit. We just did the Bill Johnson Black Film Festival, and then also the Southern Indie Fest. So that is going on right now. We've got a few more festivals coming up. Looking forward to it. And it was just a lot of fun. And again, like I'm constantly trying to challenge myself to do new things. And this one had, I still had some of the comedy to it, but then this had like some supernatural elements, which was a lot of fun to try to shoot and edit to make it seem really, I don't know, just scary / funny. And so that was Ghosted. Check it out. Or I don't know, I don't know how to tell you to check it out yet.
I'm curious, Marquette. Ghosted also inspired by real life events.
Is that a yes or a no? Perhaps.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah. Now,
Well,
actually, I didn't have that much skin in the game with this story. This one was really about technique and experimentation. I would tell you, I've been ghosted plenty of times and have been the ghoster, but this was not that.
Well, if you want to find out more about Marquette and Ghosted, when it'll be at a film festival near you or online, follow her on her Twitter account, Marquette_Jones. And we'll put that in the chat as well as in our show notes if you're listening on the replay. And anything else, we're going to come up with our brave faves here in a minute. But anything you would say to our directors, to those who are women directors, to those who are Black women directors. This industry is hard no matter what, but it's harder for some people historically. What things can people do? What things would you encourage them to be working on in this time if they want to brave their own way in the industry?
I would definitely recommend whoever it is, like, start with what you have access to and use that to make the next best thing that you can make. So for me, with Forgiving Chris Brown, I had access to some actors that were really interested in doing something vulnerable and brave for them. We didn't do a lot of fundraising. We just kind of brought our resources together and like, let's make this thing. And then the same approach was with my students. They really wanted to make something, and we had access to equipment and each other, but not any money, but we still made it. And that has blossomed into a thing. So I really think that for anybody out there who's thinking about directing, writing, look for your team. Keep an eye open at all times for people that you feel good about working with. And just make whatever it is that you can make at the moment. Don't feel like you have to make your magnum opus at this point, because that will come. Like, I'm able to build my career off of, building blocks from like one short film to the next to like the feature, and really getting like jobs like the job I have now based off of the work that I've done.
That's great. I love that. I think that's a great reminder. Just do it, make it now without having to feel like this has to be the perfect magnum opus, or getting into a film fest. Sometimes, like in our very first projects, we're like, I got to get into Sundance. I got to get into whatever. It's like, no, just make the story with what you got. It's okay. It's how you learn. It's awesome. I am also going to put in the link to where Marquette is right now. So yeah, before we jump into our last thing, you're teaching at Santa Clara University. Anything you want to say about that? You're in the Bay Area now. You're teaching film. What can people expect if they take a class from you? What kind of things are you teaching over at Santa Clara?
Yo, I don't know what they expect, but I think they're getting a lot right now for me. I'm teaching screenwriting right now, right? So there are a lot of students in there that are, this is their first class in screenwriting, and you can expect me to be very gentle with you in terms of helping you find your story and learning how to trust yourself as a storyteller. But you can also expect me to give you good feedback on how to make your story better. And those are the two things that I try to keep at the center of the class. Like, how do we make this better? And like, what are you trying to say? So like, and it's good. It's great for me too, because it's helping me to go back to the basics in terms of, okay, inciting incident, 3-act structure, like making sure that they have all of the building blocks for good storytelling before they go off and, I don't know, before they go off and do whatever they're going to do next.
I love it. Yes. Marquette. Awesome.
So wait, go Broncos. I got to say that too now.
Is that the Broncos are Santa Clara's mascot?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, Denver? Wait, what? Okay.
Oh, I know. Listen, at first I was like, I don't know what kind of animal that is. I think that's a horse.
All right. Well, before we go into our Brave Faves, I'm excited to bring in for a new segment we're trying to do every month with our resident film critic, Marcus Robinson. It's called a 2-minute movie review. So Marcus Robinson, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Hey guys.
What's up, Marcus? What's your film review for us today?
So my film review is Judas and the Black Messiah, which is on HBO Max right now. It's about Fred Hampton, who was the chairman of the Black Panther Party of Illinois in 1969. This film takes place in 1969. And at the time, he stood as the most notable rising revolutionary in the civil rights movement, and somebody J. Edgar Hoover proclaimed as the Black Messiah. We also follow Bill O'Neill. He is a small-time crook who was apprehended for carjacking, blackmailed by the FBI, and forced to infiltrate the Black Panther Party and get close to Fred Hampton. So first, any movie that really chronicles the Black Panther Party is a welcome sight to see for me, since even today, some people know about this organization stems from FBI propaganda. Director Chaka King really takes a Martin Scorsese approach to the camera work and directional style. Yet, truthfully, the story of O'Neill and Hampton is so fascinating that you don't really need the stylized push, but it's a welcome sight to see. The acting is flawless. David Kaluuya plays Fred Hampton. His performance will go down in history as one of the best depictions of Black revolutionary, alongside David Oyelowo in MLK and Denzel Washington as Malcolm X. And Lakeith Stanfield plays O'Neill, and he's just as potent here. He makes flesh and bone a character that we were meant to despise the entire film. And Jesse Plemons is great here as well. He forever is great playing this babyface monster character, the FBI agent. The only kind of down flaw I guess I had with the movie was that you might need to know a little bit about the Black Panthers before going into the movie to get the full impact, but that's kind of a minor flaw. Overall, this is an accomplishment with historically important takeaways. In it, we get to explore the Black Panthers as an organization. We get to see a depiction of the Rainbow Coalition. And we get to understand the FBI's historic role in carrying out assassinations, which, if you've been paying attention to the news recently, then you know what that's about. And all this is coming out from a major studio, so that's saying a lot. Yes, so 4 to 5, a recommendation, HBO Max.
Right on. Marcus, go check out moviesmarcus.com. Follow him at moviesmarcus1. Marcus, we love this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You got it. 2 minutes movie review from Marcus. We'll see you next time, Marcus.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, everybody. It's time for our Brave Fave.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
All right, everybody, you know the drill. Every week we share one of our Brave Faves, and this doesn't have to be of your lifetime. It's like of the week. So, Christina, what you got today?
I really have Tony to thank for this. As someone who identifies as Black and queer, looking out at the landscape, there aren't that many pioneers and heroes to look up to, but Ellis Hayslip, the host of Soul, oh my goodness, he has lit me on fire. I have been watching the documentary available on PBS. There are episodes available on Amazon Prime. It's amazing. It's an amazing show. If you love music, if you love, it's Black History Month. It's a great way to spend your weekend watching this show for Black History Month. And that is how I am. That's my great fave, actually, for the week. A phenomenal show.
It's an episodic documentary, right? Is that the one, or is this the feature film? Which one is this, Christina?
So there's a documentary, Soul, that's available on PBS, and so you definitely want to check that out. And then you can watch episodes of the show from the 70s on Amazon. Yeah.
Oh, it's on Amazon Prime. Okay.
Yeah, and I would recommend. Yeah, you could go watch Forgiving Chris Brown and then slide right on into those episodes. Set that up for the night. Can't go wrong.
Awesome.
Can I add to that? The director of the documentary, there's an episode on Directing Magic with the director of Soul. So there you go. Synergy.
Go check that out. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear about the show being on. You said Amazon Prime?
Yes, Amazon Prime. And can you say the director's name? Is it his daughter, I want to say,
niece.
Or his niece? Okay. His niece.
Melissa,
and she is on something on YouTube. They did a conversation with Nikki and Robert Glasper, and that is also really phenomenal. Lena Waithe, I mean, it's fantastic. Blair Underwood, you wanna check that out too. You'll do a deep dive.
Awesome.
I definitely went all the way in.
Awesome. Thanks, Christina. What's your brave fave, Marquette?
For the week, I'm reading this book called Heavy, and it is an American memoir by Kisei Limon, and he is such a just brilliant writer. He's a writer out of he grew up in Mississippi. I don't think he lives there now. But just an amazing book about his growing up in Mississippi and his love for words. And I loved it so much that I bought it for my brother and sent it to him as like a Black History Month gift. Like, I just felt like we just don't get these stories very often. He talks about his up and down weight situation as a Black man, and he talks about his love for his mom. He talks about him becoming or being a Black feminist before he knew what it was. It's just, man, like, I feel like I need to be friends with him. So like, hi, like, come be my friend on Twitter or something.
Come on, Kisei. Let's make this happen.
I just really like, and also I'm listening to it as opposed to reading it. So like, his voice is in my head. It's been in my head the whole past week. It's a really great film. I highly recommend it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. We'll have to check that out. The link is in the chat if you want to go buy it right now. My brave fave, I'm way like past this. It's like the series already went off the air, but BoJack Horseman, I just discovered this animated show, and I am like, what is happening to me? I am addicted to the show. I want to write animation like this. It has been so inspiring. It's all about the entertainment industry, but it's so much deeper. It's about trauma. It's about narcissism. It's about race. It's about homophobia. It's got so many things, and I'm just in season 1. So I recommend BoJack Horseman. Check it out, especially if you like the entertainment industry and you like the kind of satire that might come along with it. It's on Netflix. It's been super fun. So, hey, thanks everybody for watching our show today. You know, as always, Brave Maker is a 501c3 nonprofit. We do this because you support us. So thank you for supporting. In fact, your support is getting us new gear. Next week, Christina is going to have a new microphone and maybe even a new camera on her end. We're really excited about that. We are thankful to those of you who text us 44321. You text the word Brave Maker. You give $5, $20, 25. You can give a monthly donation. All of it helps us continue to support and elevate brave voices for justice, diversity, and inclusion. That is what we care about. And go to our website at bravemaker.com/buzz and sign up for our e-news. You'll get to maybe see film screenings that are free, like Ghosted by Marquette Jones when it comes out. We'll let you know when things are coming up on the up and get you connected to other things like podcasts and classes and things that'll help you brave your way in this industry. We're so grateful for Marquette today. Thank you for Marquette for being with us. Go follow Directing. Yes, come back again and share stuff that you're doing. This was fantastic. And we got to get Marcus back in for a picture. Here we go. Let's do it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. And thanks to Lodric Collins for dropping in. That was fantastic.
Yes.
This guy's
Good
playing
job.
Smokey Robinson across from Jennifer Hudson. What is happening? Oh, we're so happy. All right. So we always end the show, Christine and I say, brave stories change the world.
And you are the story. Bye, everybody.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at bravemaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.